Hey guys, I hope that you're doing all well. In this video, we're going to take a look at how the AI revolution is reshaping the markets. We're going to take a look at all the updates and everything important happened this week. We're going to do it every week so you get an insight in all the changes and all the ways the AI revolution is reshaping the financial markets. So this is on the topic today, right? We got a lot to discuss, from the NVIDIA Uber partnership to the Google and Anthropic deal. We're going to take a look at a few announcements for the buildup of a few supercomputers. And of course, in the end, we're going to take a deep dive in the earnings of Google Q3 2025 that got released yesterday. So let's start. We discussed last week extensively that for now, the two major competitors in the autonomous vehicle robotaxi industry are Waymo and Tesla. Last week we discussed that actually Tesla is not really a player yet, but that Waymo is already a very big player and that they're also expanding rapidly. Now, what did NVIDIA and Uber announced? NVIDIA is going to supply car manufacturers with the hardware and the software to make the cars able to drive autonomously, right? So NVIDIA gonna supply the computer and the sensor system, radars, LiDAR, and ultrasonics to be applied to the cars. Stellantis, Lucid, and Mercedes-Benz will be the first car manufacturers that this hardware and software will be applied to. And Uber will be used to bring together human riders and the robot taxi drivers, right? So it's a very big announcement. NVIDIA, with these car manufacturers, and Uber, they're gonna attempt to become a significant player in the robotaxi market, right? Trying to take market share from Waymo and also Tesla, but Tesla's not yet a player yet, right? It's a very fast growing market as discussed last week. Very, very interesting, right? And this is also, of course, part of the AI revolution. The way these robotaxis learn, the way autonomous vehicles learn, it's based on the same AI models, right? So let's go ahead here. By the way, you see like the levels of driving automation. It's something that is passing by regularly when there's people or communities discussing self-driving cars. And it goes from level 0, no automation, to level 5, full automation, right? Here you can see an overview. Let's go to the next one, Google Anthropic deal. First, let's start with what is Anthropic. Anthropic is a company. It got founded in 2021 by people who left OpenAI. Why did they leave OpenAI? Because there were concerns about the AI safety, right? There's this idea that AI could become actually dangerous. If the AI starts to think for itself, it could start do things that could endanger human process or even humans in the end, right? The more and more important AI is going to get. And of course, we're going to dive more deep in this topic later on. So Anthropic got founded by people who left OpenAI with the mission to build reliable and honest, harmless systems, right? They have the cloud models. I'm sure you heard about it. Now Anthropic is the fourth most valuable private company out there, right? You got the public companies that you can trade on the stock exchange, and you got private companies who are not yet on the stock market. The fourth most valuable private company is Anthropic, right? So what is the deal? Google and Anthropic announced that Anthropic is gonna buy up to 1 million Google chips. We discuss often what an excellent company Google is. It's really like the number one AI company because they are full stack. They're building the chips, they're having the cloud computing, and they got, of course, the AI models. And they got the AI applications and now also quantum computing. So this is a very big breakthrough for Google because it means that the Google TPUs are clearly an alternative for the NVIDIA chips, right? So Anthropic, a big player in the models, large language models, AI player, they're gonna use the Google chips. They're gonna purchase up to 1 million chips, and it's like it counts for 1 gigawatt of computing capacity, which more or less 1 gigabit is the same power as one nuclear reactor. So that's a pretty big deal, right? And this significance really means that the Google TPUs are now a viable alternative for the NVIDIA chips. And every day we've seen this week Google making new all-time highs, right? Google is the number one AI company in my opinion. We've seen every day new all-time highs, and yesterday we reported earnings and we gapped up again. And we're gonna take a very deep look into the Google earnings later on. So please watch this video. Now let's go to the next topic, right? Last week we discussed extensively the competition between Tesla and Waymo from Google on the robotaxis, right? Now let's take a look at robotics. We got Tesla and Amazon. They're the main robotic players currently. Let's take a look at Amazon. Amazon announced this week the Blue Jay. It's like a multi-arm robot system. At the same time, they also announced Project Illuna. It's like a very agentic AI model to help managers and operations make them decisions and help them, right? At the same time, Amazon opened advanced robotic fulfillment centers, like fulfillment centers where they all like creating the packages and sending the packages and shipments, etc. Very advanced robotics in Northern Indiana. At the same time, they announced a partnership with the Carnegie Mellon University for robotics and AI developments. Also, there have been leaked internal documents, secret internal documents in which they mentioned that they're going to automate 75% of US operations by 2033. They're looking to save 30 cents on each product shipped. So you can imagine the margins will go up a lot, right? I'm a big fan of the Amazon company, and I also definitely think it's one of the best buys currently in the financial markets. And it even goes so far that in these leaked documents, they are making plans to mitigate the fallout of communities of people losing their jobs, right? Because it's very concentrated. You got like these big fulfillment centers where a lot of people in that area are working for, and they're already thinking, what we're going to do with it if these people are going to lose their job. That's how significant the AI revolution or the robotic revolution is going to be for Amazon and for the people and for the workers and for the economy, right? They even discuss, that it's better to use the word cobot than robot, right? Because robot has more the idea that it's replacing humans, and cobot stands for collaboration robot, or like a co-robot, right? So it's more like working together instead of robots replacing humans. Now let's take a look at Tesla. Tesla reported earnings October 21st, and it doesn't go that well with the current financials of the EV company of Tesla, right? But the stock is very expensive. Why? Because Elon Musk keep the stocks up through ambitions, right? The idea is that Elon Musk is going to be a huge player, Tesla going to be a huge player in the robotic market and in the robot taxi market, and that's what keeps the stock market up, right? So a lot of fan people all over the world of Tesla, and also I'm a big fan of Elon Musk. Don't get me wrong, he's a very big inventor, big entrepreneur. But I'm trying to be objective, and he really keeps the stock up through ambitions, right? These are a few things that he mentioned during his earnings call. Optimus, like the robot that he is launching, is likely and potentially the biggest project of all time, is what he literally said. Another thing is, I don't want to have more control over the Tesla company, but I want to have control over the robot army that we're going to build. At the same time, he literally said Optimus at scale is an infinite money glitch. So think about the two different, right? Both there are big in robotics. Both they're attempting to build a robot army, right? One of the two is actually doing it in secret and already planning to what to do with the fallout in communities that it's going to create, right? Because they know it's going to have a lot of impact. And the other one, who doesn't have the robot actually yet, is screaming that it's like a huge project and that they're going to be the monopoly and etc., right? Personally, I think Amazon is clearly ahead. Amazon is clearly the number one robotics company in the world, right? And they're not secretly, but like they're not screaming it, right? And that's also the idea. If you're truly a monopoly, monopolistic companies, they're not screaming that they're a monopoly, right? Because that gives issues. They're just doing it quietly, like they're also like nuancing it. No, we're not that big of a monopoly, right? So I think between Tesla and Amazon is the bigger robotic player, right? But yes, I agree, Tesla Optimus, it has a lot of potential. But at this moment, it's definitely not there yet, right? It's just on the ambitions. Let's go to the next topic, right? I'm sure you are familiar with this image, right? This is the idea that there's a lot of circular finance happening in the AI bubble, right? It happens that one company, one of the big companies, taking a stake in another, for example, in another company, that money uses to invest to buy chips or service or products from the other company, or they're like all kind of transactions happening, right? And this is what you can see here. And there are concerns about it, right? It's like capital flows amongst various big companies, and that's keeping everything up, right? And the idea is that in the future, the market will pay for it. In the future, it will be monetized, and it will pay for everything, right? So you see now between very big companies, these all kind of constructions to finance the build out of a lot of AI infrastructure. And the idea is that it will pay off in the future. There are concerns about it. Why? Because it's based on optimism that it's going to happen. The truth is, in case if there's no profitability, in case they can't monetize the investments that they're currently doing, they're going to be an issue, right? Who's going to hold the bag? Right? It won't be limited to startups. It will be a big issue everywhere. At the same time, the companies are financially healthy. They're mainly using the profit that they make each year to invest. Valuation reasonable, and it's also not priced in for infinite growth, right? Like what happened in the dot-com bubble. It's just priced in that AI will be very big, and there's still also room for backing out, right? At the same time, right, investing is three things, right? Some things you need to understand. You need to understand the business completely. Some things in life you need to be able to do, right? You need to be able to understand, to be able to read the financials, but then you won't have an edge. But you can really have an edge if you create a vision, you form a vision, you form an opinion, and if your vision is more correct than the general vision, then you have an edge, and then you can profit, right? It's the role of vision when investing. So the truth around this is there's no clear answer what's going to be. It's more, what is your vision? And if you have your vision, then you can position accordingly, always with risk management, right? You never take leverage risk. You never take too much risk. So the idea is, what is your vision, right? Is there going to be, in the future, sufficiently monetization of the AI infrastructure possible? I think so. I think clearly won't be any problem, right? And I think we're also seeing the start already in the Google earnings that we're going to discuss later. But I think the monetization of the financing of the whole infrastructure now in the future won't be any problem. And these big companies, they also don't think it's a problem because they're actually doing the investment, right? And they're having like the circular financing things. So the question is, what is your vision? What do you think, right? You need to, if you want to invest successfully, you need to understand the business inside out that you invest in. You need to read and capable of reading and understanding the financials, and you need to form a vision about what will happen in the market, what will happen in the future, what will happen with the company, etc., right? And then you can place your bets. So the question is, what is your vision? Let's go to the next topic, right? That is actually in the same topic as an extension. Last weekend, there was a survey came out by Gartner. And because the idea is there going to be more investments in AI by a lot of companies, right? By the big companies. Yes, 83% is planning to spend more in 2026 compared to 2025. Why? There's a fear of being left behind, but also a growing recognition of the AI productivity boosting potential. In the market, there have been a lot of fears that in 2025, yes, we're investing a lot, and then in the next year it's going to go down, and everything in the stock market will go down again. But in my vision, it will only increase and increase and increase the investment in AI. And actually, this is also like in this survey that confirmed it, at least for 2026, it's increasing. Another hedge fund, Coatue, concluded that betting on AI remains for them the right strategy. They say, yes, the AI boom diverse from past bubbles. It's the pace of adoption. It's actually getting used more. There's not a lot of leverage involved, right? Companies are investing with their profit. It's not that they're borrowing money to invest. And the valuation levels of the companies are reasonable. They say that the long-term fundamentals are robust enough to support the investment thesis, but they acknowledge the risk, right? There's a lot of investment capex, capital expenditures, so the investments are very high. And if the case of the rate of AI adoption is slowing down, that's going to be an issue. Let's go ahead now to the next topic. TSMC that we discussed in the last week video extensively, it remains the bottleneck of the AI revolution. Why? TSMC is a foundry. They're actually manufacturing the chips. AMD and NVIDIA, they're the companies who are designing the chips, but they don't build the chips. They design the chips, and then TSMC is like the biggest company, one of the only serious player almost, that is actually manufacturing the chips. These chips happening on the island of Taiwan in front of the coast of China. Now, like a lot of companies are trying to get the production to their country, like Germany, Japan, and Arizona, the state. They are getting the production, try to take over the production from TSMC, right? I mean, like TSMC are gonna build factories and get the production to these countries and to Arizona, to the state. But it takes a very long time, right? It takes many, many years to build it because it's extremely tough and difficult, complex technology to build it. So the big bottleneck of the AI revolution, in my opinion, is that all the factories and all the production is happening in Taiwan. What if there's happening somewhere, like an earthquake or like what is discussed, right, that China is trying to take over Taiwan, then it's going to be a big issue, right? There are even rumors that the US administration, that they're making plans as soon as China wants to take over Taiwan, that they're going to destroy the AI infrastructure there, right? And that they're planning to evacuate all the engineers that are working there, right? To take them to the United States so the production can continue. Not straight away, but eventually, right? That's a very big issue to pay attention to. Other news, Qualcomm is actually joining the AI chip race, right? They announced new chips, the AI200, AI250 for AI inference, being launched in 2026, 2007. They already have a customer, it's Humane, it's the Saudi artificial intelligence company, because also Saudi Arabia is building their sovereign AI data factories, right? Because they also don't want to lag behind. So you really see that not only the companies are building on it, but also countries are building their AI infrastructure. It's not the first AI chip, because there was the AI100 already, and this could definitely become a player in the future. Let's continue, right? Because we discussed already a little bit the countries trying to build AI infrastructure, right? There's the US AI Action Plan. They're looking to enable science. What is the idea? Because of the AI revolution, everything going to be more productive. Because of the increase of productivity, there will be more designs happening. There will be more materials developed. Everything will simply go way more effectively, right? Research will be faster. Data handling will be way faster, right? Unstructured data, cameras, images, etc., can be used for intelligence. So the idea is that there's going to be a golden area for the science. And countries are already anticipating on it, and they want to invest in the infrastructure to become the hotspot and to get the country with the developments in the science and in the AI, but also of course defense, national security, right? So what do we see? US is announcing 2 mega computers powered by AMD, Lux AI and Discovery, right, to advance the US scientific discovery, planned early 2026. 1 billion of investment. Besides AMD, also Oracle and Hewlett, HPE gonna be partners in it. At the same time, the Department of Energy also announcing a first ever AI supercomputer, Solstice. The second system is expected in 2026, but this one is with NVIDIA, right? It's going to be supplied with 100,000 NVIDIA Blackwell GPUs. It's part of the alignment of the national security sovereign compute capability, securing US leadership in AI. Now we got Eli Lilly, right? The big pharmaceutical. They're also planning to build a supercomputer. Also got announced this week. It's Tuesday, October 28th. They're going to build an AI factory for drug discovery and development. Right? It's not so big, only 1,000 Blackwell Ultra GPUs, and it's about accelerating drug discovery and development across the sector. Right? So really see things happening there. Another topic, PayPal, also big news, announced a partnership with OpenAI to integrate the digital wallet into ChatGPT. Right? It's huge because it's bringing e-commerce to ChatGPT. Why is it so important also with ChatGPT? If there's you need to have a network, right, to sell products. Through PayPal, OpenAI, the company behind ChatGPT, gets access to this whole network of merchants, of sellers, right? So they don't have to get individually in touch with all these sellers. Now they get it through PayPal, okay? And that also brings e-commerce to ChatGPT, right? And also, of course, PayPal already made the same announcement with Google before, a few weeks ago. But this really brings e-commerce to ChatGPT. Big development, if you ask me. Now let's go to the final and perhaps most important topic of today. The Alphabet Google earnings that got published yesterday of Q3 2025. In my opinion, Google is the biggest AI company there is. It's a full stack company, right? As discussed, it creates the chips that actually now getting used by other AI companies, right? By the models. It has the best models. It is one of the best cloud computing, so one of the big players in cloud computing, right? It has the applications, it has the quantum computing, it has the self-driving cars, Waymo. Google is a full stack AI company, and I'm very big invested in it as well. What does the company do, right? They have Google services. It's Google Search and YouTube. They do advertisements on it. That's the majority part of the company. That's also why Google was actually relative cheap, and it's still relative undervalued, because the market thinks that the ChatGPT is gonna disrupt the Google search and perhaps also YouTube, that people no longer gonna use Google search. Therefore, Google is not gonna get the advertisement income, and therefore it will go down. But my idea, and also what's getting shown here in the results published yesterday, that actually Google search is increasing, right? because they got the best models, because they got all the information, because they got everything, they're actually able to increase it and to capitalize on what they know, what they can do. So it's actually increasing. Well, second part is like the Google Cloud, which is used. It's the AI infrastructure, 12%, and it's growing. And the other bets are Waymo. And of course, don't forget they have YouTube. I mean, YouTube is such a strong product that even if you pay money to no longer use YouTube anymore, you would not even accept it. If I would offer you 5,000 euro, but never in your life you can use YouTube anymore, probably you say no, right? Because YouTube is so valuable. So they have a product that's so valuable, even if you pay customers to not use it anymore, they will still use it. They will reject it. What did they show? Search growth 7% year over year. That means compared with last year, compared with quarter 3, 2024, it grew 7%. So significant growth. YouTube ads and subscriptions continued 50% year over year. Now, Google Cloud Computing grew 34%, right? So it was already growing, but the growth even accelerated, right? It's part of the trend that we're seeing in the market, why we're also investing in AI, that more and more companies are going to the cloud. And there's a huge market still of companies that need to go to the cloud. And there's also like a big backlog growth of actually companies that want to join Google, the cloud, but there's no capacity yet, right? So before we show more about this, what have you think discussed in the earnings call, right? It's the first ever $100 billion quarter, right? They see double-digit growth in various aspects, right? With AI acting as significant catalyst. At the same time, you can see like the operating income grew 9%, the margins increased, the net income increased, EPS increased very, very strongly, right? Cloud backlog grew, Google search advertisement grew, everything simply grew very fast, right? And they say that AI was a significant catalyst, right? They say the 100 billion quarter is primarily attributed to the pervasive integration, right? Because they got like all the infrastructure, they got the models, they got everything of artificial intelligence in its core business. So it grew 34%, right, year over year. And they say 70% of the existing cloud clients now use Google AI products. So the question was before, in your vision, is it that the investors currently in all the capital expense, all the investment in AI infrastructure, if it can be monetized in the future? Well, with 70% of the existing cloud clients now using Google AI products, I think, because they're paying clients, right, that the monetization, it's confirmation that the monetization won't be a problem in the future. So yeah, they say also like in Google search, the AI mode, which is now currently available in Google search, is already driving the total query growth for search, right? So it's already moving up. And actually also myself, right? I think the AI mode is very good in Google. Sometimes you don't even go to ChatGPT, but just check the Google AI mode. Well, what else did they say? They say over 70% of the existing cloud consumer Google Cloud customers, they use AI products, right? What else do they say? They have a lot of experience building AI accelerators. 9 out of top 10 AI labs chose Google Cloud, which is very significant, right? 9 out of the top 10 AI labs chose Google Cloud because they're also like the only hyperscaler, right? Microsoft, Google, Amazon are the hyperscaler, the only one with world-leading models, right? The Gemini AI models, actually the world-leading. And at the same time, they're also leading in generative AI models, right? The AI models that actually can generate things like the videos, the images, right? They got like Veo, Gemini. It's also rapidly accelerating. And the revenue in quarter 3 grew 200% year over year. So it didn't grow 100%, didn't double. No, it grew 200% year over year. The revenue caused by the generative AI models. I think it's really clear that this is the #1 AI company out there. Here we see a bar chart with the growth in Google Cloud revenue, right? You see it's already moving up, which is nice, but you see the growth is now increasing. It's speeding up, right? This is very powerful. And at the same time, you see the red line, this is the margins. So for each dollar, how much percent they can actually keep in the end. Usually you see that as first the market is growing, the revenue is growing, and then the margins go a little bit down, and then they try to get the margins up. But now we don't only see the Google Cloud revenue increasing, but also the margins are increasing. Really, really powerful. Google search, what we discussed, right? It's also not getting disrupted by the ChatGPT. What's like the narrative why Google has been very undervalued. We see it actually only growing faster, right? You see it went from March to June, right? From first quarter to the second quarter, it moved up 5 billion. And now we see an increase of 7 billion. So it's actually accelerating the Google search revenue. Instead of getting disrupted, it's accelerating. But at the same time, you see, here you can see the part of Google search, that is the percentage of the total revenue, right? That is actually decreasing, the yellow line. So the part of the total revenue that's Google search is declining, and the rest of the business is increasing, right? So the risk that AI is going to disrupt Google search is only getting smaller because the Google search is getting a smaller part of the Google business, but the Google search is actually also accelerating. So all in all, it's very, very powerful, and you can expect more from Google in the future. What its CEO said in the press conference, well, our full stack approach to AI is delivering strong momentum and we're shipping at speed. Google Cloud accelerated, ending the quarter with 155 billion in backlog. Same time as that YouTube is now commands more US watch time than Netflix plus Disney Plus combined. And shorts are monetizing faster per hour than traditional in-stream ads. So only strength. And let's not forget the potential upside, right? Waymo. We discussed how fast the market of robotaxis is growing and that Waymo is actually the only player there, growing very fastly. So don't forget Google Waymo positioning, and don't forget the quantum computing developments, right? Because Google also last week they announced that had like a major breakthrough with running an algorithm that's 13,000 times faster than the world's best supercomputers. They say that there have been 3 Nobel Prize awarded to quantum researchers that are working for Google, right? So don't forget in everything the potential upside that Google has in quantum computing as well. So in my opinion, it's not if, but when Google is going to be a $4 trillion company. It will be more or less $350 per share. Right now, it's like $290 more or less. The market cap of 3.3 trillion. I think it's not if, but when Google is going to be a $4 trillion company. And I think they should be, and I think it also will happen. Also, the investments, the capex, the capital expenditure, was previously expected to be 85 billion this year. What was, that was so high. Are we going to be able to monetize it? Actually, then it went upward revised to 91 billion, and now they're investing 93 billion, right? So they're investing for the future because they see, okay, we're investing now, and in the future it will get paid off. But we already see that it's already paying off, right? So this was it for this week. I think we discussed many, many topics. The AI revolution is reshaping the financial markets completely. And if you're interested, subscribe this channel, like this video, because I'm gonna keep you up to date on all developments, how the AI revolution is reshaping the financial markets. Have a great evening. Bye-bye.